What's up, YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC Fight Night Benavidez versus Figueiredo. Let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Ismail, I can't say his last name, versus Sean Brady. And to me, these guys are pretty much the same. They're both striker wrestlers. To me, it's just kind of who's got the better technique and who's got the better kind of conditioning and power. And I'd say Sean has the better technique, but I think in terms of power, Ismail has the better power. And it's kind of like who can kind of gas out the other, who can land the big shot first. And I'm just slightly leaning towards Ismail. I just like his style more. I think he's more aggressive, and I feel like he's just going to edge out the close rounds, which I think every round will be close. And I think it's either going to be a split decision or a 29-28 decision on all cards, and I think Ismail is just going to slightly edge it out. Next is Alon Cruz versus Spike. I can't say this guy's last name. And these guys are pretty much the same in my opinion. They're both really good striker, wrestler, jiu-jitsu guys. They're very well-rounded. I think Alon, he's just had way more time to prepare for this fight, and that's kind of the big X factor for me is he's been training. The guy who's supposed to fight, I think, pulled out like a week or two ago, so Spike's taking this fight in really short notice. So even though these guys are pretty close, I think they're both really well-rounded and, they're both good everywhere. I'm just leaning towards Alon because he's had more time to train for this fight, and I feel like that's, like I said, the biggest X factor. So I think he's going to win by decision or submission. Next is Jordan Griffin versus TJ Brown, and to me, TJ Brown's not that great. He's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but that's about it. I don't think he has great striking, and I don't think he has great wrestling. I think he's just got good jiu-jitsu. I think Jordan Griffin is just as good as him at jiu-jitsu, but I think Jordan Griffin's way more better at wrestling, way more better at striking. He's way more athletic. I just think he's better at everything. The only thing Brown may have a slight advantage is in jiu-jitsu, but I don't think it's enough to submit Griffin. I think Griffin keeps on the feet and eventually wins by KO. Like I said, he's 0-2 in the UFC, Griffin, but those were two really close losses. I think he's finally going to get his first win. Next is Marcin Tybura versus Sergey Spekov. And Sergey is really weird because he's 1-1 in the UFC. His first fight, he got dusted super fast. And his second fight, he used a shit ton of wrestling and won by submission. I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Marcin. I think Marcin's takedown defense and overall grappling is too good. I think Tai Tuivasa is just not the greatest wrestler, and now we know it. We didn't know at the beginning, but now we do. I think Marcin's way more well-rounded. I think he's got much better striking, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu than Tuivasa did. And I think that Sergey, we've seen, he's really just kind of a wrestler submission guy. So even though he has a big win, I don't think it's going to be as easy for him to do what he did in his last fight to Tybura. And I think Tybura is going to either stuff the takedowns or wind up on top and either win by TKO from ground and pound or like a submission with like a rear naked choke. So I got Tybura winning by either round 1 or 2 finish. Next we got Brendan Allen versus Tom Breeze. And to me, I'd be way more willing to pick Tom Breeze if he fought more consistently. I think this is like his second fight in like 2 or 3 years. He had a long layoff for like a year and a half, fought one time, beat Dan Kelly, and then took like another year and a half off. And it's like, he just fights too inconsistently, and he's only fought one time at middleweight against a guy that he was a huge favorite against. And to me, Brendan Allen's just way younger, way more fighting consistently. These guys are pretty similar. They're both striker jiu-jitsu guys. But like I said, I'm just leaning towards Allen. I like the fact that he's younger. I like the fact that he fights way more often, and he's looked good in the 2 fights I've seen him in, the fight in the Contender Series and the fight against Kevin Holland. And I feel like if he can get this to the ground and turn into a grappling match especially, I definitely think Allen can get the win by submission. So I'm picking Allen by sub, probably in the first or second round. Next is Gabriel Silva versus Kyler Phillips. And to me, Kyler just looks like a really good karate guy, but that's about it. I know he has some jiu-jitsu, but I just think Gabriel Silva is the much stronger grappler. I think, in terms of striking, it's probably close. Kyler's probably a little bit more technical, but I just think in terms of wrestling especially, Silva's just got a huge advantage. I mean, I know Ray Borg is more of a 125-pounder, but Silva was kind of out-wrestling him that first round, and then the second round was really close, and then he got tired in the third, but that's because Ray Borg's just so good at consistently wrestling. I don't think Kyler Phillips has that same type of wrestling that Borg does, and I think that, if Gabriel Silva was able to win, almost a round and a half against Borg, I think he can win 3 rounds against Kyler pretty easy. I think he takes him down repeatedly and just wins a 30-27 decision. Next is Luis Pena versus Steve Garcia, and I really like Steve Garcia. I think he's a really fun guy. He's a really good, like, brawler-style kind of guy. I just think he's way too small in this fight. To me, Luis Pena is one of the biggest guys at fucking lightweight. Like, he's tall as hell, and he's long as hell. Like, Steve Garcia is a guy, he's fought at 135 most of his career, and he's kind of moved up to featherweight now, but he's still not that big of a featherweight. You know what I mean? He's a medium-sized featherweight going up against one of the biggest lightweights, and he's taking this fight on short notice. So as much as I would like Steve Garcia to win this fight, he's just not going to. I think Luis Pena is just way too big, and I think we're just going to see him like run through Garcia. I think he's just going to outstrike him on the feet because he's so much longer with his arms and legs, and eventually get to the ground and probably win by submission with like a rear naked choke or a guillotine or something like that. On to the main card, the first fight is Grant Dawson versus Derek Minor, and to me, this is really just going to be a straight-up grappling match back and forth. I think this fight's going to last as long as Minor can keep the pace. I think Dawson isn't going to get tired. He can keep whatever pace he wants, and he won't get tired. To me, Minor, he can definitely catch Dawson. You know, his record's like 25-8, and he's got like 21 submission wins, something like that. And you know, he can catch almost anybody on the ground. He is a very good grappler. You know what I mean? He can mix up with anybody on the ground. And if Grant Dawson gets lazy or if he's too slow to move, he could get caught in like a knee bar and arm bar at any point in time. But realistically, I just think Grant Dawson's the much better wrestler. And I think his pace, his ability to keep his pace is much better. So I think other than Derek catching Grant in the first like 3 or 4 minutes with submission, I think Grant's eventually just going to outpace him and outposition him and win by like rear naked choke in either the end of the first or the beginning of the second, probably. Next, we got Megan Anderson versus Norma. I can't say the rest of this chick's name. And the women's featherweight division is the biggest joke I've ever seen. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like there's 4 fighters in it, and they're all on this card. It's like the UFC doesn't give a shit. They're not even trying to build up this division. Like, I don't even know why they keep it, because Amanda Nunes is probably not going to move back up there and fight Felicia Spencer. You know what I mean? There's bigger fights at 35, and there's no way for these chicks. It's unfair to these chicks because it's not like they can win a bunch of fights against big names and earn the title shot. They're just kind of fighting to stay active at this point, and there's almost no point because they're just fighting people that have shitty records other than Felicia Spencer and Megan Anderson, and Felicia Spencer already beat Megan Anderson, so it's like, what's she going to do, fight her again if they both win tonight? I'm just saying, it's stupid and it annoys me, but either way, I think Megan Anderson's just way better than Norma. I think other than Norma, like, taking Megan down and taking her back and winning by rear naked choke, Megan's better everywhere. I think her wrestling, striking, and overall jiu-jitsu, other than, you know, if Norma takes her back, is better. So I'm picking Megan Anderson to win either by decision or knockout. Next, we got Ion Cutelaba versus Magomed. Can't say his last name. And to me, Magomed's amazing. You know, he came to the UFC 10-0. He was beating the shit out of Paul Craig before he got caught in the triangle. And since then, he's won 3 straight dominantly. You know what I mean? He's destroying people. To me, I think he's absolutely a guy who's going to crack into the top 15 with this win. And the only thing Cutelaba might be slightly better than Magomed at is the wrestling, but Cutelaba cannot keep a pace. Magomed can fight at pretty much whatever pace he wants. He fights pretty slow, but it's his accuracy that's great. Like, when he throws strikes, they usually land. And even though he doesn't throw a lot of volume, he's really accurate. And to me, I feel like if he can just survive the first round, which I think he will because his striking defense is really good, then I think round 2, the end of round 2, beginning of round 3, we're going to see Magomed, you know, just fuck up Ion and win by KO. Next, we got Felicia Spencer versus Sahar. I can't say the rest of this chick's name, but this chick got submitted by Megan Anderson. Megan Anderson is a striker. You know what I mean? Felicia Spencer is an amazing jiu-jitsu fighter. She's going to take this chick down and win by rear naked choke in round 1. You know what I mean? This is what I mean by the women's featherweight division is the biggest joke on earth. It's like they have no desire to build this division, and it's like these... Felicia Spencer's a good fighter. She deserves to fight someone good. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to shit on this. I want them to actually get good fighters in this division so Felicia Spencer can earn a title shot. Like, I think she can beat enough good people to earn one. But it's just not going to happen fighting these people that suck, and they're not giving them good fights. So it's like, what's the point? Get rid of it or start bringing good fighters is all I'm saying. Sorry to rant. Finally, we got Joseph Benavidez versus Deiveson Figueiredo. And to me, I feel like we already kind of saw the lesser version of Benavidez beat Figueiredo. We saw Jussier Formiga take Figueiredo down repeatedly, stay on top of him, and just land small ground and pound for 3 straight rounds. To me, if Formiga can do that, there's no way Benavidez cannot do that. He's a significantly stronger wrestler. He's way more fast. He's way more explosive. He's got more overall power in his body. You know what I mean? And his striking's better. I just feel like there's a reason why Benavidez has knocked out Jussier twice. He's literally just he fights like that, but he's significantly better everywhere. Deiveson can definitely catch Benavidez with like a punch or like the guillotine, but other than that, I think that this is going to be a lopsided grappling match. I don't know if he'll finish Figueiredo, but I think he dominates all 5 rounds, 10-9s, and just wins a 50-45 decision. So I got Benavidez winning by unanimous decision. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.